What's going on, everyone? Welcome. It is the first show of 2018. And of course, MC Curtis doesn't have clapping for me, but I'm already starting off on the wrong foot. Too damn late. Too damn late, Curtis. Too damn late. Seriously, though, Happy New Year, Cliffy. What's going on? My good friend from Jupiter, Florida. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Candy, I see you all the way from Japan on the Facebook side. Zakia Ringle, Tina Teague, Soror, how are you? Thank you for being here. And Joe Wheeler, one of my former kind of students. I see you on the Facebook side. Also, I see Sheer Social, Soror. Good to see you. I see Araya. What's going on? Meerkat class of 2015. There's a whole bunch of you, and I am super excited. Let me tell you who I am before MC Curtis gets on me. My name is Tachi. I'm a media professor, a filmmaker, a media content producer, and a journalist. And this is MediaScope. We talk all about media tech and pop culture, the best in media tech and pop culture, and we have some fun and foolishness around the way. Yeah, Araya, Meerkat class of 2015. So, everybody, you know how we do. MC Curtis has gotten newfangled. Did you see my lower thirds? Everybody say what's up to MC Curtis.
Hey, everybody. What's going on?
And he sounds excited as usual. You can tell. Yeah, hey. That's his excited voice, ladies and gentlemen. MC Curtis, you got newfangled in 2018. Let me find Wow. Okay, and I'm super lit and super excited. More lit and excited than usual. Not just because it's 2018, not just because it's the first show of 2018, not just because we've got a fantastic sponsor, Black Tech Week, but that fantastic sponsor is here, live and in the flesh. Everybody, please say hello, and I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself, my dear. To Felecia Hatcher, who is the co-founder of Black Tech Week Miami, of Code Fever Miami, and this fabulous new co-working space. Felecia, my dear, how are you?
I'm good, Tachi. Thank you so much for having me, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Look at you. I'm loving that background, by the way.
Thanks. I'm actually sitting in the kitchen, which is fun.
If your kitchen looks like that, that's good for you. But I need you to come and decorate mine if that's the way your kitchen looks. But you're actually at a co-working space. Guys, Felecia is amazing. So tell us a little bit about where you are and how you're involved with it.
Yeah, so I'm currently sitting in Tribe Co-work and Urban Innovation Lab based in Overtown. Which is a really awesome neighborhood, historic neighborhood with so much rich culture here in Miami. And we are getting ready to open up our doors to the full public in just a few weeks, actually the day before Black Tech Week. But it's really cool. It's a 10,000 square foot co-working space, office-based conference rooms, cool kitchens, Urban Innovation Lab, our Code Fever, which is our youth training program, is also housed with a classroom downstairs. And then just a really awesome community of really cool tenants. Probably will be one of the most diverse co-working spaces here in South Florida, but then also based in a historically Black neighborhood to be able to provide resources in a community and just a magnet for tech, innovation, creativity, and culture right here in the Overtown community.
Absolutely, and that's great because you don't often find co-working spaces in quote unquote chic urban neighborhoods, but you don't find them in the places where they need to be. So I think you're providing an excellent service. Araya on Periscope says, "What a great program! Love hearing that stuff like this is happening."
and Derek Pearson on a mission to essentially rid communities of innovation deserts, but specifically like Black communities. So people are extremely familiar with what a food desert is. People having to travel miles sometimes in order to get access to fresh fruits and vegetables, and just nutritional food. And about 26.5 million people across the United States live with
hold
food.
on a second. Curtis, they're saying there's no sound. Curtis, are you there? Okay, so hold tight, guys. I know you can't hear. Hold tight. It's there now? Okay. Sound is good now. Okay, it's back. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And thank you, MC Curtis, for all your hard work in getting us the
Yay,
sound.
Curtis!
Yeah, and for losing it in the first place. Anyway, I'm kidding. I love you, Curtis. You know I do. Okay, so Felecia was talking about Code Fever. Go ahead.
Yeah, so with Code Fever, we're on a mission to rid communities of innovation deserts, specifically Black communities. And people are familiar with like food deserts, right? And kind of where we deem this term innovation deserts, where 26.5 million people across the United States live in food deserts, having to travel sometimes miles and sometimes on public transportation in order to get access to fresh fruits and vegetables. Well, the same thing is happening from an innovation standpoint. There's over 50 million people across the United States that are economically distressed and disconnected from the innovation economy and the innovation boom that's happening all across the United States and technically all across the globe. And so we set out to solve that problem 4 years ago, or at least try and put a huge dent in that problem, specifically here in Miami as its startup ecosystem was just sprouting up. And we realized that there was some activity starting to happen. A lot of that was fueled by the Knight Foundation, who's a presenting sponsor and founding sponsor of a lot of the work that we do, but it just wasn't inclusive of the entire community that exists here, and more importantly, the genius that exists in communities that are often overlooked and under-resourced and undervalued. And so we started off with a coding and startup school for young people, young African-American and Caribbean students, as well as their parents, and training them in digital literacy, computer programming, and then how to navigate startup ecosystems as a person of color. And so with that came a lot of different programming that we did, from our coding camps to our hackathons to even our career jams that brought students from different communities into the offices of Facebook and the offices of Uber, and not like the driver office, but like their actual office, so that students can get a sense of what it's like to actually work for a startup. The technology companies that they interface with all the time, and we hear all these things about them indexing high on. Like, what is it like to actually be in their office for the entire day, learn about the unique positions, whether it's in tech or it's in logistics or in marketing. And so that's what we do. We've been able to train and introduce over 3,000 students in the 4 years that we've launched Code Fever. And then from Code Fever, you've seen other programs. So like Black Tech Week, VC in Residence, this space that I'm in, are all a part of our mission to rid Black communities of innovation deserts.
Wow. And you're getting hand claps from Alizi on Periscope. Everybody's really digging this. Anna says, preach. She is so on target. She's all.
One of the best resources that I don't think gets talked about enough is Yes We Code's website, which is a national platform that kind of serves to kind of put together and aggregate like all the content and all the awesomeness of organizations similar to ours in other cities. The good thing is we're actually coming to Philadelphia later this year with Black Tech Weekend and looking to partner with some local organizations. But like North Board, I believe, is the organization that is starting to do some phenomenal work in Philly. Jamoka, and I can't remember the exact name of her organization, but she's doing some phenomenal work. So there's quite a few organizations in Philly. Comcast, who's a sponsor of ours, but they have like their creative spaces, and they've been funding a lot of this kind of work across the country, but they're headquartered in Philadelphia. So there's a lot that is going on in Philly. And I think the Yes We Code site is a great starting point because it lists a lot of the organizations that are like ours as a one-stop shop, not just for Philly, but people, families that take road trips during holidays and they're going somewhere else during the summer and they want to put their child into a STEM program or an entrepreneurship or a startup program. That's definitely a great starting point.
Fantastic. Okay, so Curtis, let me give you a note. They're saying that when we're side by side, my sound is dropping out, I believe. So something to be aware of. Maybe just switch back and forth. Let's see.
Okay, there you go.
So
Yeah, it should be.
I should be good now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the great
Ernest
and powerful
is on it.
Oz, he is. The great and powerful Oz says that I should be good now. Chosen Mogul, welcome on the Periscope side. So yeah, okay. They said it's better now. Okay. Thank you. All right. So, today is the day that it will want to act up, but this is why we have MC Curtis, the producer with the mostest, running. Thank you, Curtis. Thank you so much. All right. Hey, G. Garcia, welcome. Thank you for being here on the Periscope side. Blessings, Chosen Mogul. So good to see you, sis. Everybody, if you have not been listening or you just joined us, we are talking today to Felecia Hatcher, who is the co-founder of Code Fever, the co-founder of Black Tech Week, who is a sponsor of MediaScope, and actually also this fabulous co-working space that she's at right now with that awesome background that if I ever come there, don't be surprised if the wallpaper...
If you ever, I hope to see you really soon.
Oh, no. I'm going to come, but see, you might not want me there because I'm walking out with all those little tchotchkes and the wallpaper on the back. You may not invite me back.
Okay.
So Araya says there's been a disconnect with the older members of the Black community encouraging Black tech. What do you say to that?
Yes. And that's a huge problem, right? And so you've seen the disconnect from a number of different standpoints. One, there's the generational gap, right? As people get older, it's kind of hard to keep up with the changing tides of technology because it's moving so fast. Two, the other part, and it's an unfortunate part of what's kind of happened around the innovation economy and tech, is that it can be very intimidating, right? To walk into a room at a startup or a tech event, to go to a training, to say, hey, I'm going to lean in and be very vulnerable and say, I don't know the answers, but I know this is where I need to be. And we face that a lot with our youth program. And so that's why I say youth and parents, because we had to create a safe space where parents and adults can feel like they can ask the dumb tech questions, right? And not be feel like they have all these eyes looking at them or people are snickering and judging them. But hey, I know my child needs this, but I have no idea where to begin. We provide those answers for them. And then they're also in a room with other parents that don't know the answers either, right? And we also put in front of them people that have tech backgrounds from a number of different standpoints. People who have dropped out of high school or dropped out of college and still being able to succeed in the tech space. It runs the gamut of CEOs of tech companies and all these different things, but there is a generational gap. And then there's also a fear. I hear oftentimes from parents, and I've experienced this myself, but sometimes our churches kind of breed this fear in people because, the internet is an amazing place, but there's also danger with anything that is put out, right? And so there's some real fear around that, but we should not be preaching that people should stay away from the internet because it's such a transformational tool to get the tech training. And so, I've been in plenty of spaces and I often tell myself, get very comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's what I always tell parents and I tell older people. We run a digital literacy program for senior citizens now in partnership with Comcast, who I mentioned before. And it's senior citizens that's saying, what, everything that I need to do now is on the internet. I can't access benefits. I can't communicate with my friends and my family. I want to be able to FaceTime, my kids or my grandkids who are on the other side of the country. I want to be able to do that. So kind of being open, but then I think the biggest thing is providing those safe spaces where people will not be judged for their dumb tech, what they feel are their dumb tech questions.
Absolutely, because there are no dumb questions. This is how you learn.
No,
so
right.
Absolutely.
YouTube
absolutely.
University, all day long is my best friend, right? And it's most people's best friend.
Exactly. I'm right along with you. We're classmates.
Yes.
University. RL Chance says, this is a good word. Camille, what's going on Facebook? Camille says the fear shouldn't be crippling, though. Absolutely. And Anna asks, is there a link for the Philly event?
So the dates of all the cities, we're going on a 10-city tour with Black Tech Weekend in 2018. And so the dates are on the Black Tech Week's website if you scroll down to the bottom. So you'll be able to see that. You can click an email. We can get more information. And literally as Black Tech Week is over, then you'll start to see the information on registering for the next cities that we're going to be going to. Austin in March during South by Southwest is the first city to kick off the tour.
Fantastic. And let's just clarify, Black Tech Week, even though it's Black Tech Week, anybody can really come and learn and get information, right?
Absolutely. And so that's kind of like the thing that I think trips people up. And it's one of the things that we've dealt with over the past few years. The word Black is extremely diverse, right? There are so many cultures that are represented under like the African diaspora. So people have to understand that, right? And then also to not do yourself a disservice of the people that you can connect with and grow with and make deals with by coming to a conference like this. So it is open to everyone. But at the end of the day, we are celebrating innovators of color, and we don't waver from that. But if you look at our past speakers, it's been extremely diverse. If you look at the attendees and look at the pictures, it's one of the most diverse tech conferences that you'll come to. So I always tell people, from different cultures, like don't deny yourself from meeting really cool people because you see like the Black part and think that you're not included. But the content that's represented and the activity that goes on is celebrating our culture. And that is not, by celebrating our culture doesn't take away from any other culture. We really want everyone to be a part of celebrating innovators of color. And that's also the reason that we have Black Tech Week during Black History Month, because we wanted to be able to honor Black history in a really unique way, but then also be able to have the conversation around innovation, technology, creativity, and culture, and what that looks like moving forward in our future. But also celebrating our ancestors who have paved the way to allow me and you to talk right now through the internet, right? But then also allow so many other things that have happened in our culture that would not have been able to happen if it was not for Black innovators. Like I often give people the example, you look at platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and the opportunities that are sometimes missed when you are not looking at diverse cultures for innovation and investment opportunity. My mom's Jamaica. I'm from Jamaica, and in Jamaican culture, in the Caribbean culture, that kind of crowdfunding was called partner, right? And the collective of putting money together and saving for big purchases. In the continent of Africa, for generations, that was called susu. And so, right, so these kind of crowdfunding of projects and things that we need is not new to us when Kickstarter or Indiegogo or GoFundMe was invented. And if you were looking at our culture for its contributions and not as challenges, as from an investor standpoint, you probably could have got in on the ground floor of some of these things much sooner, because our culture has solved these problems out of necessity. Uber, an Uber pool, another example, right? Like we have the Jitney taxi and we have the Judah taxi. These have been around for 30, 40 years. And so from an investor standpoint, you could have got in on an Uber pool, like the utility of that, right? People piling in, paying $1 or $2 to take you from point A to point B. The exact utility is the same. The technology overlay in order to make that a global conglomerate is the difference. But it's not for a lack of idea in our community, it's for a lack of resources. But if you are looking to invest, and I keep saying that because that's the opportunity that exists when the ideas kind of match the opportunity. But that is not happening at the speed that it should be happening, because our communities are constantly overlooked for the contributions that we've always had in this space.
Absolutely. And I keep telling people, Airbnb started when we couldn't stay at certain places because of who we are. And so, especially like in Florida, what was it called? The green pages, where there were listings of safe places you could stay. So all of this, the sharing economy, is not anything that is new.
Right.
Technology has now just facilitated it in such a way that we think it's new, but it's really not.
Right,
so,
right.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're getting some really good comments. History Needs You, who is my co-host from the Classic Movie Salon, could not stay because he's going to be on the BBC this evening. He's a big person. So thank you for being here. But he's always here like clockwork. Matthew, Zakia, hello again. And I know I missed some comments. If I missed a comment and you want to ask Felecia a question, please put it back up because you know I'm managing several different devices. The Green Book, yes, Camille, exactly. Anna says the resources are out there for the good ideas. People are looking to invest. It's not a zero-sum game. There is abundance. Absolutely, Anna. And Anna also says, glad to know that all are welcome. Absolutely. One thing I will say is that pro us does not mean anti everybody else.
Right.
So that we have to start to know. Absolutely. Jiggy Mig, I'm so glad to see you. Thank you so much for being here on the Periscope side. So with that, I'm going to come back to Black Tech Week. We're going to get into some of the stories because I know that's also why you all tuned in. We're going to get to some of the stories, but I just had to do an interview with this fabulous young woman because she's also a mother. When do you sleep?
I get my 8 hours.
Oh, you're like, whatever you have to do.
Right.
But I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
Cook your own dinner. I'm going to sleep. But no, I feel you. Okay, so we're going to get into some of the stories of the day, and then we'll come back to talking a little bit about Black Tech Week in the last half hour that we have left. But before we do that, let me introduce myself, because I don't think I did introduce myself. I think I did.
No, you didn't. Anyway. Do it again.
Curtis, are you trying to get brand new because we have company? You know she's going to leave, right? You know eventually it'll just be me and you, right?
And you are?
See? You all saw that, right? You all saw that or heard that. Okay, don't worry. As my mother used to say, like, if she wouldn't say anything in public, she just used to look at us and say, don't worry, and you'd be worried. So I'm saying to you, Curtis, don't worry. Anyway, Levox says, Curtis, be nice.
Sleep with one eye open, Curtis, man, because she's coming for you, dude.
I know.
Both eyes. Don't close. Don't go to sleep. Okay, just don't sleep. How about that? Okay, guys. So the big story of the day, we can't get away without talking. Who watched the Golden Globes? Did you watch the Golden Globes, Felecia?
I watched a little bit of it. I watched what I thought was probably the most important part, which was Oprah's speech. So
okay, that's what we're getting to. What did you think of Oprah's speech?
It was phenomenal, and I'm hearing over all the chatter about this 2020 presidential run and all that craziness. So it was a really moving speech. It was Oprah in her element, right? And Oprah's like my spirit animal, anyways. So I really, really, truly enjoyed it.
Fantastic. Okay, so I guess you made some room because we're supposed to have what is that? Photo one?
Yeah,
Curtis?
Yeah, let me get there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. I can't, Curtis. Yakov, thank you so much for joining. Okay, and see, she looks like she's a guest on the show. Because she's going to be a guest on the show, I'm telling you. Oprah is my everything. She's like, nobody ever better say anything bad about Oprah. So, but this whole, never. That's my queen. But the whole thing with Oprah and running, it's interesting because I read this afternoon that because of the person who currently lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. 20059, it has changed the way we think about who is able to lead and who is able to run. I don't know if this conversation of Oprah 2020 would be a thing if it wasn't for what has been happening currently in politics. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've heard Oprah's name bounce around a few times, in our lifetimes, right? And so, but as far as it being something like that can literally happen, yes, like that's a very real possibility, and it's really up to Oprah to say yes or no. I think for everything that she represents, she has it, right? And I think the downside of what has happened with our current administration is the conversation around, experience in politics kind of has been thrown out the window, right? And for whatever be thrown out the window, because that was just kind of like a non-factor during his campaign. And so that's going to be interesting, right? And hearing a lot of entertainers want to kind of throw their hat. I don't want Oprah to run for president. I don't think we deserve her to kind of come in and clean up with this mess. And I think that will she make a fantastic president? I think so, right? I think she's proven in a number of standpoints, if we're looking and kind of measuring her as people were measuring Trump in the very beginning, right? As his like business acumen and like what he's been able to accomplish, although we still haven't seen tax returns and all that other stuff. But, the proof is in the pudding and what she's been able to do and how she's been able to galvanize unique audiences. The conversation that I thought was really interesting on what was that, Monday night, Tuesday night, when it aired, the next day, the conversation in the media on CNN and all these other things was like how she's able to like galvanize Black women. But we have to remember in her heyday when she was on mainstream TV, it was mostly white women that were her audience. And so like, don't dismiss the fact that she's able to kind of gather those women like Hillary probably wasn't able to during her campaign. So I think that's really interesting. Fact that all of a sudden it was just like Oprah and like Black women, and yes, like mighty Black women are gonna rally behind her, but she's also able to gather that other side, which is extremely important part of that conversation.
Absolutely. And here's my thing. Black women already saved Alabama.
Right.
Please, we don't need any more jobs. So let her just do her thing in media if that's what she aspires to do. We don't have time to be cleanup people anymore.
And not just media, like Oprah owns like an organic farm now, and like schools and like all this stuff. So
right. She's multifaceted.
Definitely there.
She could do it. I just really see, and who am I? But I really see her talents best suited in that way, working directly with the people. Not that could not transfer over to politics, but I don't know. I just think our system is in such a state that there would be so much cleanup before she actually got to be making real change. So,
right. Which is what we saw with Obama, right? Like,
correct.
What he walked into, what he had to deal with. Imagine if he had to only deal with a fraction of what he dealt with, how we could have really seen some transformational change for a lot of different people across the United States. So it's going to be hard. I don't think that's the best use of her time. I just don't think that we deserve her, right? I just don't think so. And Kamala Harris on the other hand, I'm rooting for Kamala Harris to like put her hat in, and I think we would be able to like rally behind her, and I think Oprah would be able to rally behind her and get her elected, and I think that's a really cool thing to see.
It'll be interesting to see that. G. Garcia says, she actually owns a stake in Weight Watchers. She doesn't own it entirely, but she owns a stake in Weight Watchers.
But Homegirl owns a farm, right? Like she owns a farm. I think she might even own two.
I think it is too far. Like I think you're right.
All that stuff. So, and
absolutely,
if you look at Snatch Waist, heck yeah, she owns a stake in Weight Watchers.
Did you see that? I was like, I don't know what kind of It's Wraps or what kind of you have, but I need the name of your garmenter. That's not even a word, but whatever. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, so we'll see what happens with that. And you guys, please feel free to leave comments, to talk. We're here for you. All right. So before I get, but there was something that I was remiss in saying that I had, guys, that this is now the season for me to start going to conferences, right? Mm-hmm. I am at a conference almost, every month starting in January. Next week, I'll be broadcasting live from NATP, the National Association of Television Program Executives. But every year I am at NAB in Vegas, and I have a code for you all. If you live out west, or you can get out west, you can go for free. All you have to do is use code E as in Edward, M as in Mary, 02, EM02, and you can get a complimentary pass to NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters Conference and Show, and it is the largest show of new media technology basically in North America, and it's awesome. You've got to be there. And if you go, we can meet up. I've done it before. So, you're in California. Okay, so Chosen Mogul, if you want to go 4 hours from you, it's EM02. It is April. I'm going to look it up. I forgot the dates, but it's like the third week in April. I will do that before we get off so that you have it. But you guys got to go free. What more do you want? Free. Okay. So let's move on from that. And the big thing, well, the next big thing is also that there were a line of firsts. So we talked about the Golden Globes, but we didn't. Sure, absolutely, we didn't talk about the thing that it was a night of firsts. So could I have video one, MC Curtis?
Got it. Video one.
New day is on the horizon. When nobody ever has to say, me too, again.
What I appreciate so much about this thing is that I'm being seen for who I am and being appreciated for who I am. And it makes it that much more difficult to dismiss me.
You know, with your work ethic, just go to City College and then to jail and then back to City College.
And blessed are those who suffer for the cause of righteousness.
Celeste!
Hey, Bill. How you been?
Madeline, when did you get to town?
Oh, late last night.
You didn't call me.
We no longer live in the blank white spaces at the edge of print. We no longer live in the gaps between the stories. We are the story in print, and we are writing the story ourselves.
Okay, guys, so that was basically in a nutshell, according to CNN, what happened there. There was a night of firsts. Of course, Oprah Winfrey was the first African-American woman to be awarded the Cecil B. DeMille Award. We had a lot of Aziz Ansari was the first Asian-American to win a Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Comedy for Master of None. We also had Sterling K. Brown. First Africa. I'm tired of us making first in 2008. So this is wonderful, but it's also terrible because it shouldn't have taken us this long. But it is. Hi, Ron X. Hey, what's going on? Ron, yeah, it's great, but it shouldn't take this long for there to be some diversity. Hey, Irie, Jimbei, how are you? Thank you for being here on the Periscope side. Thank you for being here. Yes, I see you. Okay, so also the NAB show, for those of you, I gave you the code EM02, April 7th through the 12th in Las Vegas Convention Center and the Westgate together. So if you could get there, got someplace to stay, you got a free pass. So, all right, all you have to do is go to nabshow.com and you can register there. Okay, so back to this. First that were made, and so besides the speech, did you see any other parts of the Golden Globe that you thought were interesting, Felecia?
I love This Is Us, and I love Handmaid's Tale. So I did like those parts. I didn't watch the whole thing, but those parts I was able to kind of catch their speeches, and I was really excited about that.
Well, yeah, that was very, very exciting. So congratulations to all of you making the first. Hopefully we will stop making firsts very soon. John Dickerson has officially been named Charlie Rose's replacement for CBS this morning. Speaking of Oprah, speaking of Gail, and the first photo was released yesterday. So if you watch CBS this morning, which I absolutely love, but because for some reason I can't pick up our local CBS over the air, I can't watch it. But when I was up in upstate New York, I was watching it, and it's absolutely one of my favorites. But John Dickerson is the replacement. He is the anchor for CBS's Face the Nation.
Okay, nice.
And yeah, so now he's on CBS this morning. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, we've been wondering who's going to fill the slot in, and now we know. Wow. Okay.
Who were you hoping that was going to fill the slot?
Okay. I had that's a good question. Look at you interviewing. I had my eye on Joy Reid.
Okay.
Not just because she used to be my editor at the Brio, but I think I've never talked to anybody that is smarter than her. She is I feel like such a dummy. She is so sharp. And so I'm like, I would have loved to see Joy Reid. There was also talk of Rachel Maddow. She's another person that is super sharp and super smart. So it would have been interesting to see Joy-Ann Reid or Rachel Maddow in that.
Heck yeah.
And what about you?
I mean, I didn't have a dog in the fight, but those two that you mentioned, I was just like, I would love to just see more of Joy Reid, right? Like, I feel like she's uber talented, and I don't think she gets enough respect in the media as she should. But she's killing it. She's super intelligent. I believe she's even from South Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
I think she's from New York originally,
Okay.
but she was here for a long time. Which is how I met her. And now she's back in New York.
Yeah.
But, she's killing it.
Yeah. And her and Rachel, they don't play any games, right? Which I think, I think when you're just kind of talking about like media, in mainstream media and what's kind of happened over the past year, you really want people that respect the craft and tell the story and do the research, right? Them and their team, of course, but really do the research, but is really committed to telling the stories and being very honest and checking people. Because we kind of lost that, right? When this kind of big, like entertainment kind of infused with news, and it was just like whatever we were reporting, and didn't matter the lives that we were in fact affecting. It was like who could get to the story first, right? And we saw a lot of that in like 2015 and 2016 with a lot of different stories that were happening, and it was just like, the media, no one was holding the media accountable, and I think those two women kind of go out of their way to make sure that they are not only telling the right story, but they're holding the people accountable, and they're holding people in their industry accountable as well, which I think is just very rare in this time, in this day and age.
Absolutely, and there's absolutely no room for sloppiness in media or in journalism, and really there's no room for partisanship, and I think we're starting to see a lot of that crop up, particularly in this political climate, and news is supposed to be unobtrusive, and it is supposed to be objective, and I think we've lost that. So I think they would have been fantastic off of news onto this deplorable. So I think all of you have already heard about the H&M story. You heard about the H&M story?
I have. Yeah, we were just talking about it today in the office.
Okay, so tell me your thoughts, and then I'll tell you some of the repercussions and some of the stuff.
Yeah, I was going to actually want to know your thoughts first, but it's just, we can just go on and on, right? Like I work in diversity and inclusion work all day long, and we always talk about how important it is to have diverse representation in the rooms, making decisions, and just checking people like, this is inappropriate on so many levels. And so there's accountability on H&M's side. I think there's also accountability on his parents. And I haven't really seen that as a part of the conversation. I now understand that this was an ad that was done in the UK and not like a US-based ad. And so I can kind of understand how this flew, through so many people, so many check and balances, or the lack thereof that should have been in place. And kind of when it hit the news in the United States, we went batshit crazy because, of course, right? But I think H&M, they should know better. And they've been dragged through the mud, rightfully so, because no matter where you are, whether you're here in the US or across the pond, like that kind of being insensitive to people from a cultural standpoint and not understanding the history that is tied to that and the pain that is tied to those kind of references, like they should know better, And so what they're seeing now, rightfully so, that treatment. And, I saw what like Diddy is doing and offering the young boy a modeling contract. Like that's the other part that I love, right? Like we have enough people, in our communities that can write those kind of checks and say, like, this is how we correct this. And this is how we're going to take care of our own. And then I'm going to show you what it's right to address a young boy and how to address our culture so that you can still, at the end of the line, they're companies, right? So it's a bottom line issue, but you can make so much more money when you respect people's cultures and not be insensitive to their cultures and think that it's okay.
Absolutely. This was inexcusable. Number one, I think that was the first thing that I was seeing on social media. who in what alternate bizarro universe has parents that would allow that? That's number one, because that's universal. Even though that's something that has a history and pain in the United States, that's something that's universal, because that was the first thing that they said when they came to colonize in Africa. As an African, that's what. So I'm seeing that, and I'm offended. Everybody should really be offended by that type of thing, because I've seen other memes with, if it was on the other foot with, sayings that were derogatory towards other groups, what would that be like? So I've seen other memes and I've seen other things addressing that. So it's completely unacceptable. I'm just a little annoyed that in 2018 we still have to educate companies and individuals on the proper code of conduct in terms of this. I'm tired of doing this. I'm like, the same Google that's available to me is available to you. Please use it. This is inexcusable.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still, I think it surprises a lot of people. But I worked in an ad agency, like early 20s, right? And I just, the people that I work with, like, I can see where this would just kind of go through and no one would like bat an eye about it, because the people that would understand that that's not okay were not in the rooms, right? They were not in the conversations. They weren't being hired, or people just thought it was funny and kind of cheeky, and they were just like, the hell with it. The other side that we have to think about is, again, because of the culture that we're in, some companies are like, bad press is also good press, because every media outlet was talking about H&M. And there are some people that are offended, and then you also have, the alt-right and like all these crazies that will probably like, hell yeah, like I'm going to H&M tomorrow and I want like 5 of those, or I'm going to support them more, thinking that that's like kind of the ethos of that company. Hopefully it's not, right? But these things should not be happening in 2018. But like, I know media, right? And I know corporations, and sometimes the other side of the bad press, still getting them, millions upon billions of free advertisement with their logo being everywhere. Sometimes they take that L and they think that the bigger win is coming as a result of a little bit of bad negative attention. And
this is when you have to take the reins and say, oh, okay, then no.
We're going to show you better, and we're going to tell you, right? We're not boycotting. You're never going to see anything from us again, right?
Exactly. And so The Weeknd he had a line that was a partnership with H&M. He said he's not working with them again. Of course, now they're trying to backtrack and smooth that over. And as you mentioned, Diddy has offered a $1 million contract to that young man.
Did they take it?
I don't know. There's no word yet as to whether or not they've done anything or said anything, probably because the parents are like, damn, this should never have happened in the first place. So.
Well, I was having a conversation with one of my business partners, Starix, and he said that the mom was defending H&M. And I mean, I haven't kind of read through anything today that's transpired in the last 2 days with it, but he was saying something about the mom kind of taking goodness gracious, I'm lost for words today. But protecting and kind of supporting H&M and kind of saying that it was not a big deal and all this other stuff. So I don't know if you saw anything about that, but
no, I haven't seen any updates to that to know what has happened. But it's going to be interesting to see what actually happens, whether or not he takes the contract, and what the parents, because they probably will come out and say something again.
Yeah.
Sheer Social says, sadly, as soon as the parents signed the contract, the company knew it could do what it wanted.
Yeah.
Laura Cross wants us to give the backstory to what happened. So basically, there was an ad, this emanated from the UK, where there was a young black child was wearing a green hoodie that said, "Coolest monkey in the jungle." And again, like you said, they may not have meant anything, any particular malice. They just let it fly, but they did not look at the historical context of what that meant. And this is why a lot of people were up in arms on social media. I mean, Black Twitter was all a Twitter with this. So that is the background with this. So obviously there's been a lot of backlash, and of course they apologize, as they always do. So it will be interesting to see what happens with this. And again, if I'm missing comments or something you want to ask Felecia, please let me know. Patricia Murray, what's going on? Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. Once again, my name is Tachi. I am a filmmaker, a journalist, a media content producer, and a media professor. And this is MediaScope. We talk all about media tech and pop culture. Our illustrious guest co-host today is Felecia Hatcher, the co-founder of Black Tech Week, the co-founder of Code Fever Miami, and the co-founder of, what is the name of the co-working space?
Tribe.
And you even have a cool name, Tribe, which I have to get to. And are you on Miami Beach or are you in Miami, the city proper?
We are in Overtown, so right at 10th and 3rd, yeah.
Fantastic, 10th and 3rd in Overtown, and so needed in that area. Fantastic. All right, so we only have a little bit more time left because we want to respect our guests' time. So let's move on, shall we? You ready for some more stories, Felecia?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, let's get into it. CES. CES is going on right now, the Consumer Electronics Show. There is so much going on. Alizi, let me go back to this. Alizi says all these companies know exactly what they're doing. Being racist is their new marketing strategy.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I talked about that, man. Listen.
That could be an all-day conversation. That's another live stream. That's another live stream. Oh, great show, Electronic Gadget Freaks Disneyland. Absolutely, Levock. So, it is on and popping in Vegas at the Las Vegas Convention Center. Let's talk about some of the things that are up there. Could I have photo 3A, please? I think that should be 3A. So, Fisker has that's it. A new luxury e-motion electronic sedan or electric sedan, which is coming in 2020. And as you can see, it is a gorgeous car. Carbon fiber chassis, level 4 autonomous driving technology, fast charging battery, and it's supposed to get 400-mile range. Unlike Tesla, which is like about 280, this does 400. A top speed of 160 miles per hour. Yeah, right?
And when is that coming out?
Tesla killer. That's coming out in 2020. So Tesla does have something to worry about now. They really did. They really had this market cornered. They were really the only ones in the luxury electric car space, even though all these others tried, but their cars were bloody ugly. Tesla was the one that had functionality and beauty. So now here comes Fisker eMotion. So we'll see what happens. They're the ones to be reckoned with. That debuted. Also, the Samsung's The Wall. Have you heard about this? Are you a TV person, Felecia?
A little bit. I've backed off like this all of 2017. I was just like, no.
What, Trump Fisher, you don't like Teslas? I don't talk about Tesla's my heart.
Oh, no, I love Teslas. I love Teslas. One, I think they're cool cars, and two, I want ones bad.
Everybody knows on these live streams that I'm a stand for three things: Tesla, Hamilton,
and Oprah.
And Dr. Who. And Oprah. And Oprah. Thank you, MC Curtis, and Oprah. So I guess four things, right? So a great idea, but a toy for the rich. Yeah, well, the good thing is, Tesla now has the consumer priced one at $35,000. They're looking to get another one that's $25,000. So we'll see what happens. So now the Wall is Samsung's 4K television and is the largest TV that has been unveiled at CES. It's the world's first modular TV, meaning you can kind of build it to your specifications to any custom size you want, in theory. And it uses micro LED technology, and it has some picture quality advantage over the OLED TVs or OLEDs. So it's better contrast and reduced burn-in. So you guys know how you watch, say you're watching Friends, and you keep watching Friends for the rest of the time you have that TV because the image is burnt in. There's supposed to be less of that with this TV. The Wall, no, not that Wall. Yeah. Hey, Just Twitten, how are you? Yeah, modular TV. So my thing with all of these modular and build and unbuild is it's when it comes time to fix components and things, I don't like having all these separate. That's the problem to me. Yeah. So I don't know. They haven't assured me that it's not going to break. Just saying. So that is another thing. And there is a rollable OLED TV.
Oh, nice.
Tell you, yes, it's a 65-inch rollable TV. It's supposed to be designed for portability and easy storage. And it's not limited to just the 16:9 widescreen aspect ratio. You could do a 21:9 aspect ratio. So, yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, thank you for changing the images. You're so good, MC Curtis. Sometimes I'll forget to tell him he's on it.
I'm trying.
You're doing a good job, but don't see. But I haven't forgotten that you tried to get smart with me in front of the company. Razer Project Linda is another thing. So Razer, the phone, the Razer, they've been trying to just all companies to have a phone turn into a laptop or be compatible with the laptop to no avail. So finally, this unveiled yesterday at CES, and it's Project Linda, and it's a laptop dock for their phone. So once you put the dock, as you can see, once you put the phone in, this becomes your laptop. So, yeah, absolutely. So if there's a company that can make it work, it's going to be Razer. Okay, so the next big thing is, what do you think about robots?
I love them, and they are going to take over the world really soon.
Robot apocalypse, right? The robot apocalypse is coming, people. In case you didn't know, it is coming. All right, Benjamin Brother Ben Evans, welcome on.
Oh, Ben!
Yeah, Ben is here.
Our LA brother now, because he deserted us, but
Wait a minute, Ben, you're in LA? You know that happens in South Florida. It's like, I haven't seen such and such in a while. And they've moved to like Switzerland. that happened. This is a really transient place, guys. Fraser Ramsey says Samsung brought out everything just for the sake of it. Bring out 4K underpants. We might not want to see that on some people. Right. Oh, and Benjamin David, I've been trying to say hello to you for a while. You're on Periscope and Facebook Live. Hey, let's see. Just Twitten says robots can't be sentient creatures, though. In my opinion, right? Jiggy Mig is laughing. AI, yeah, absolutely. So robots, that's the big thing at CES. And one of the cutest things at CES is Sony's Aibo. That's supposedly the cutest gadget of the year, and that is their little puppy dog, the robot puppy dog. And it was there last year. It's made a return, but now they've got OLED eyes for better expression. But this bloody thing costs $2,000. Does anybody have a spare $2,000 for a robot puppy? What does it do that a real puppy?
I would be down for a robot puppy because I have a 4-year-old daughter who loves dogs. My brother was allergic to dogs, so I never grew up around pets. So I'm just like, I really don't want one, but she wants one. But if I can get like all the characteristics of a dog and it'll play with her and all this stuff without having to clean up the dog and like all that stuff, it might not be like a bad investment. But $2,000 is a stretch, though.
That's a hell of a stretch. That's chewing gum stretch, okay? Ron says he would buy it, though. Ron on Periscope says I would buy that. Well, buy me one. Oh, Cliffy Land says sex robots too. Oh, they're already here. They're already talking. Not only are they already here, it wasn't at CES? No, it wasn't at CES. There's a new show on Viceland called something like Slut Something.
Yeah, I saw that.
Have you seen that?
I have, yeah.
Sex robots there.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know why anyone is ever surprised. Like any new technology, like the sex industry is like usually the first one to adopt it. And it should never surprise anyone.
Absolutely. The sex industry, the porn industry, when it comes to new things in terms of new cameras, they have it first. VR, they have it first because they have to keep things interesting, and we'll stop there. Family show.
Yeah. So what happens when someone gets electrocuted by a robot?
Don't say things like that because I'm picturing that. That's just too damn bad for that. What I would say is, well, that's what you get. Shouldn't have been doing what you were doing. here's the problem though. I think all of this, just saying, y'all, I'm just saying, you share social senses, you die happy is what happens.
Right.
Alicia says only Curtis would say something like that. Absolutely. Nobody else was thinking about this, Alicia, except for Curtis. He couldn't wait to tell. I gotta ask.
Sheer Social was thinking the same thing.
Oh, Iron says sex electrocution. Oh gosh. Wow.
No,
Sheer
it's
Social
sexecution.
was thinking that.
It's sexecution.
She was thinking that. Sexecution. Oh god. Oh, see, you even came up with the right name, but what's going on in your head, Curtis?
Just a thought.
I bet it was just a thought. So we have to get ready to go. So let's do one more story, shall we? Let's see if we could do one more. Get off of CES. Okay. The last time I saw you, you were on a panel talking about tech for the Women of Color Empowerment Institute, and the whole thing about Bitcoin came up. And you talked about the fact that we need to be in the space.
Yeah.
Basically. So in that spirit, this made me think of you when I saw this, that Kodak has announced its own cryptocurrency. Kodak, yes. Y'all, the people who make film.
Wow.
The Eastman Kodak in Rochester, New York, which I grew up about, an hour and a half away from. Yes, they are doing their own cryptocurrency. Can I have Tachi coin?
You should.
If that's the case. I really should. I really should. So because of that, Kodak's stock price has skyrocketed.
Through the roof,
60%.
Wow.
60%. But here's the thing. They came out of bankruptcy in 2013. Well, this is what happens when you base your entire industry on a failing medium. Nobody really uses chemical film anymore because most filmmakers use digital now.
Right.
I learned on chemical film, but you know how much it costs? That's why I used to get mad when my actors would laugh. I'm like, look, y'all, I don't have money to keep buying this film. You all need to do it right the first time. So it's expensive. But, they really did not seem to have a transition plan for what was next. And so this has given them a what's next. What do you think about this?
Listen, Kodak was like, we screwed up about 15 years ago, and we are not missing this next wave. So I am not mad at them at all. A friend of mine, Tennyson, actually sent me the link yesterday, and I was like, cryptocurrency is the thing that breathes life back into Kodak. I'm interested to see exactly where they're going to go with it. So I'm definitely going to follow this story, but I think you're going to see a lot of companies kind of going down this route. But yeah, Kodak was out of left field. I did not expect that, but just kind of understanding how they epically missed the ball, right? They did not want to go into digital cameras. They thought it was a fad. They thought people would easily get over it. They were just adamantly refusing to go down that path and even just kind of try it out. And they were left in the dust, right? The young people that I train have no idea who the heck Kodak is. They're none of that. They don't know what film camera is.
Exactly.
And so this is going to be really interesting. And I'm excited for them to kind of go down this path, because I think that decision to not embrace digital has haunted them for the past few years. Clearly, right, they were bankrupt and going through that process. So I'm interested to see where that's going, and I'm interested in seeing more companies that are not kind of in tech or kind of considered innovative kind of come into cryptocurrency.
Absolutely. This will be, as I said, very interesting to see what this goes, and to see who else follows. So today Kodak, tomorrow who knows? Xerox. They're kind of in that same.
Sony's gonna have to tip their hat too, right? Because they have a similar story. They invented the Walkman, and they should have invented the iPod, right? And they didn't. No one wanted to speak up. They had the technology. They were I think they had already started creating MP3 players. Whether or not, but they had the Walkman. They had people already kind of transitioning to being able to carry their music with them, and no one on their team wanted to kind of step up and say we should go down this path, because they just did not have a culture of kind of failure, right? And you need to have that in any corporation, because that breeds innovation. So, Sony's probably going to be that next one, because if Kodak can redeem themselves, maybe we can redeem ourselves, and there will be a lot of companies just like that as well.
Absolutely, and it will be an exciting time to be in the space. Mike Hines says this looks like a Kodak moment. Yes. What's up, Mike? How are you?
Listen, if their social person could like start tweeting that out, that would be literally hilarious. If like posted some memes and stuff about that.
Exactly. See, why do we always have to come up with everything on MediaScope? This group here on MediaScope has come up with so much, and I keep saying, be quiet, market it, because somebody will take it.
Right.
Patricia says, Kodak has always been clueless. Remember when Fuji grabbed the official film of the USA Olympic team status years ago? It was just embarrassing. Kodak has never recovered. The whole community, Anna says the whole community was impacted by the loss of jobs that happened when Kodak was downsizing a few years ago. She lives in Rochester, so she understands. On Periscope, Ron says, so the new Kodak instant camera will look like a slot machine dropping Bitcoin? Probably so. Probably so. Hey, Dr. Vibe, what's going on? Thank you for being here. MediaScope Posse is on point. I'm telling you, this is the best and livest media party ever. And now, since we started a little bit late, we're just right on the hour. And Felecia, I'm telling you, I'm not even asking you, that you are definitely coming back. I want you on the show again. This was like so live. There's so many people in here. And I'm first of all, you're like a Joy Reid. You're like a Joy. You are so knowledgeable about tech and the tech space, and I am honored to have you on the show, and thank you for sponsoring MediaScope.
Thank you. I'm honored to be able to partner with you. And I just love you, right? Like, I love your energy. I'm trying to match her energy because, you know, and I was like, one thing though, when you do your intro, can you please add like badass to the end of that? Because, you know,
You're so
your intro is not complete. You're like, and I'm a badass. So, yeah.
I will take that into consideration. Curtis, I already see you putting that at the end of the lower thirds.
It's coming.
It's coming. So thank you for clapping, Cliffyland. You're awesome. Araya says, can't wait to come to the conference in Miami. So Araya is coming. Araya lives in D.C. Araya, you've got to make sure you let me know. I think we have each other's contact information, so we could like meet up and do some stuff, please. So, and so Felecia, for everybody who is interested in coming, talk a little bit more about Black Tech Week and give them how they can come and get involved.
Yeah. So the full agenda is on blacktechweek.com, but it's literally 6 days of epicness in Miami, and a little something for everyone. So we have the conference. There's a new government component to it called Government Educon. And so that's a lot of conversation and kind of panels and keynotes and some master classes around Black-led municipalities and getting them into the smart cities conversations. Like, why weren't our Black communities bidding for Amazon's contract, right? And how can we best position them to just be better? And how can we best position them to use the data that they're collecting to make really smart decisions moving forward and let technology be transformational to our communities? And then we have our 2 days of our hustle con. So that's startup, that's a digital media, that's e-commerce, that's like everyone that wants to figure out like how to either raise money, how to monetize their skills, how to build better teams for the enterprises that they're building, and then also how to work for tech companies. Like, those 2 days encompass all of that. We always kick off the end the conference with the Women's Innovation Brunch. Almost about 200 women just kind of killing it in the game. Super excited, awesome experience to be a part of. And there's a lot of events. There's a pitch competition that we're doing. Next week, I'll be able to actually announce the awesome cash amount of the prize. And then we have VC in Residence. So our VC in Residence is a way to connect minority startup founders with access to VC funding and access to actual VCs with mentor sessions. So people that are registered for the conference will actually be able, as long as slots don't fill up, right? Because once they fill up, they're done. But we have a venture capitalist from Techstars, as well as TechCo out of Baltimore, Lisa Mitchell and McKeever from Baltimore, who will be our VCs in residence, that attendees will be able to get like 30-minute sessions with a VC to discuss like their ideas and their concept and their startups and how to take that to the next level and how to get funding for their business. So there's a lot going on that week that we program internally with our organization. We have some social events as well. A lot of people are excited about Black Panther, the Marvel movie that releases the following week. We actually have a real life Black Panther. That's one of our keynote speakers, Bobby Seale. So we're really excited about that. And we're pairing Bobby Seale with some awesome tech investors to just talk about what it looks like from a historical standpoint, from economic development in our communities, and marrying that with like technology and innovation to be able to move our community forward. So go on the site. All of our kick-ass speakers are on our site. They have phenomenal bios and backgrounds, so check that out. And then there's just a lot going on that week here in Miami. And then like if you're coming from outside of South Florida, like who wants to be in the cold and the snow and like all that stuff? So come down to Miami, have a little fun. We're having some really fun social stuff that we're doing, and then be able to also network, connect with people, and hopefully get some deals done.
Absolutely. Guys, you have to, I am pushing for you to come here, because if you come here, we'll definitely meet up. We'll do a whole MediaScope thing. We will be there at Black Tech Week. So you have got to come down. I mean, February, Miami, who doesn't want that? I don't get it. Why would you not want to be here? You can make it a play work type of thing. You've got the beach, you've got the tech people, you've got the awesome business people. So just make it a play work vacation type thing. So with that, Felecia, thank you so much. And you're coming back. You're coming back. I definitely want you back on the show. Thank you so much for being here. And if anybody wants to get in touch with you or Black Tech Week, can you drop some social media?
Sure. So literally at Black Tech Week on everything. So from Snapchat to Instagram to Facebook, that is how you find us.
Fantastic. And Levoc, no, there will not be a party at my house. You all have tried this before. And I said no.
What did you say? There's a party at your house? What was that?
What? See, you're supposed to be my friend.
I already see myself like hanging out with a glass of wine on that green couch. So like, just let us know what time. We'll put it on the schedule.
Here we go. And with that,
she's like, Felicia's not coming back.
We're going to sign up. Everybody say, Curtis, thank you so much. Everybody say goodbye to the producer with the mostest, MC Curtis. His name is actually Curtis Brooks from Curtis Brooks Media Productions. I call him MC Curtis, and now everybody else calls him MC Curtis too. So he is the producers with the mostest. If you have for all your production needs, you can contact MC Curtis at Curtis Brooks Media Productions. And you are at Curtis Brooks Media Productions everywhere, right?
That's correct.
Okay, fantastic. And with that, I'm going to sign up. Felecia, hold on. I am going to sign off. I'm going to say thank you all. I'm not going to say bye, Felecia Araya. I'm not saying that. Cliffy Ladd and Ron and Chosen Mogul and Dr. Vibe and Araya and G Garcia and Gina Pina and Alice and oh my gosh, Anna and Patricia and Man and Vagina, Sarah, Mike Hines, and oh gosh, there's too many people are in here. But you know I love each and every one of you. So I'm going to say thank you so much for coming. It's because of you that I do this. I love you for watching. I bid you adieu. And Felecia, MC Curtis, and I are going to exit. Stage left. Okay, bye. Bye, guys. See you next week.